Good evening. It's Wednesday, October 19th. This is a meeting of the Majority Minority Redistricting Subcommittee. We'll begin with a roll call. Adrian Kissy,
Present.
Connie Graves,
Here.
Dominique Maza,
Here.
Barry Malden,
Here.
myself, Marie Allen Campbell here. And also with us, we have Jeffrey Weiss. Jeffrey,
I'm here.
and we have Marissa.
I'm here.
Okay, so for the first item, we're going to begin with a discussion about the return of the local law. Just a quick question, Jeff. Do you know if we have a definitive answer yet on whether, what is it, the 17th or the, I think, Friday, the 14th?
The date, well, you mean in the new deadline?
Yes,
December 12th. I was going to walk through that.
okay.
So want me to walk through that process?
Yeah, so yeah, why don't you do that?
Okay, so it was my understanding that that the commission and the MMD subcommittee received a letter from the legislature with chorus that indicated that local law N was defeated on October 14th, and that the 60-day period runs from the day the plan was returned, quote unquote, to the commission. So the local law did not define how it categorizes when the law is actually returned. We talked to the county attorney and to the county legislative attorney, and it appears that a local law is returned to the commission at the time the clerk of the legislature properly places it in the mail or sends it by email. So based on all the conversations we've had and the analysis done by the county attorney and the legislative attorney, the first letter was sent October 14th, that it was sent by mail several days before that by US postal mail, so that the joint agreement was that the 60-day period would begin on October 14th, and that the commission must send back a revised plan on or before December 12th. So that's essentially where things stand right now. We had to, we had to wade through the differences of when the vote took place, when the official correspondence from the legislature took place. But I'm not at this point looking to second guess either the county attorney or the legislature's attorney, both who are more familiar with the charter structure than that we would be.
So on that, Jeff, I just have a question because you said send back the revised plan on or before December 12th.
Correct.
So if in fact we decided that we were not going to revise the plan, then that would just be the response date.
Yeah, actually, I discussed that with the commission last night. That we send back notification that there's no change in the plan.
Okay. So do you want to discuss the implications of it relative to the feedback that they provided to us?
Well, the feedback was almost minimal. They're just fearful that the plan would dilute minority voting strength. It's based more on their perception than on any analysis, which of course they haven't done or haven't done anything that we're aware of. I mean, the fact is that the the map that you proposed will most likely, will probably elect 5 minority preferred candidates, and there's the possibility that 2 more districts can be could elect minority preferred candidates. There's no guarantee on anything, but this is the state-of-the-art racial voting analysis. Just because one individual says, well, if you think a district will elect a minority candidate at 47%, I know it won't work unless you have 52%. That's just a guess. And there was probably an agenda to protect incumbents, something that this committee was not permitted to take into consideration. So, the questions are, do you want to stay with the plan you've got now, or do you want to find some way to compromise, to go part way with the concerns of the legislature, but being mindful that if you can create 5 districts that are likely to elect the minority preferred candidate and 2 more that might, and that you're also keeping in mind Black and Hispanic populations joined together in coalitions, even if the Hispanic vote isn't strong enough to indicate its voting strength, come next year, when the New York state law takes effect in July, the county could be liable under the New York state law for a minority vote dilution, not to go with 7 districts. So, but having said that, if I had to compromise in an old-fashioned political way, what I would say is draw 5 districts that will elect the minority preferred candidate, and 1 additional district, a 6th district, that would reach at least 50% minority voting age population. Because under the Voting Rights Act, when you have racially polarized voting and you're looking to almost guarantee minority electability, you need to go with 50%. We're saying in the draft plan that was submitted to the legislature that 7 districts are what the public asked for, and 7 districts will likely work. Now, even if you do 5 districts that will elect and 1 that should elect, doesn't exist right now, there are never any guarantees that someone elsewhere might show up next summer and sue anyhow. But that doesn't fit into the legislature's thinking.
So can you repeat what you just said about the 50%?
Okay, if you don't go with 7 districts and are looking to meet some of the concerns of the county legislature, then I would suggest that you create 5 districts that, under Dr. Hanley's analysis, will elect minority preferred candidates, and 1 additional district that is not a plurality district, but is a 50% plus district. And this pretty much parallels what I believe I put in an email to you about 2 days ago, if you want to find that in writing.
So in the Judge Khan decision, he says that no such bright line rule exists relative to the exact percentage of minority voters required to achieve.
Right, but under the Voting Rights Act, you are required to create a minority district if you meet 3 factors, the Jingles factors.
Jingles.
And the Jingles factors require 50% plus. What Judge Khan was referring to is some other number that might be achievable. In other words, it might be 51%, 53%, 55% to create that initial district.
So are you saying now that all the districts we create have to be? Because
No,
previously you said you said 50% is not a requirement.
no, yes, the Supreme Court in a case called Cooper v. Harris, 2017, out of North Carolina, ruled that if you have districts that once might have been 52%, for argument's sake, 52% minority, and over the course of time, while there's still polarized voting, there's enough white crossover voting that you only need, let's say, 47 or 48% to maintain that district. Then you maintain that district less than 50%. So I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the 5 districts, can be maintained where they are now because they are, according to the expert analysis, going to elect a minority preferred candidate. But to guarantee a 6th minority district, that needs to be 50% more. Right now, they're likely to elect. If you're talking about probable to elect, you need to reach 50% plus. And that's where I think that if this is the route you want to go, that the mapper should explore other kinds of map configurations that would pretty much keep the original 5 districts to the best strength they are now, and then create a 6th district to look at.
Okay. Do y'all have any questions for Jeff?
I don't know if this is for Jeff, but
You might have to talk loud.
I don't know if this is
I hear you.
Jeff, but this is Nick speaking.
Right.
And I want to go to a point that was made earlier, that looking at the districts that were created, and that basically we're using the 2010 census tracts to determine population. I know they weren't done until 2015, but it was the 2010 census. Then we've got the 2020 census. And the MMDs that were in place had lost minority population. It's been leaving, people have moved away. So in fact, they were already weakened. One of the arguments is, well, you're weakening things. Well, in reality, if they were just left alone and never touched, they were already weakened. So, and the argument that what we've proposed has weakened, I don't think really holds up.
Well, what Dr. Hanley did was looked at the reconfigured election results using the new districts to see how the voters would perform. And based on voting histories that she analyzed, the map that you proposed, should in fact elect 5 minority community preferred candidates. They might not be the preferred candidates of the incumbents, but it would elect a preferred candidate.
Okay. Well, in fact, they're not weakened.
No.
Well, they're weaker. They're weaker. The districts that we're proposing are weaker than the districts that currently exist.
But they're
And
still,
part of that is because we're doing 7 districts. Part of it is because of that. Part of it is because, and I believe 4 out of the 5 districts, the minority population decreased.
It has decreased.
but the map that was drawn based on voting performance would still elect the minority preferred candidate. The county legislature is fearful. They're afraid of that. They're not accepting that because, for whatever reason, they're fearful of it being too low. Now that you can, let them have the plan they want, but if you read, did you see the Albany Times Union editorial today?
I did.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's not me speaking. I didn't know about this editorial until I read it today. They're saying the same thing independently.
So the only,
Wait, when you say they're saying the same thing independently,
No,
what?
of me. In other words,
Okay.
Albany Times Union is saying the same thing that I'm saying, but I had nothing to do with their editorial.
Okay.
All right, I'm a little confused because when we did the districts, we did our districts using plurality, where we used the Blacks and Hispanics together to come up with the percentage for the districts. Now, it's my understanding that they want us to just use districts where Blacks are the majority.
No,
They,
no, it's not that. Districts that we drew, they're pluralities because they're combining minority and Hispanic.
Right.
And-
Previously, what was in place, or what's currently in place, really, it was MMDs that had a non-Hispanic Black population above 50% in and of itself.
Right.
And then Hispanics were also considered along with that, but that took those percentages way up.
Took them up to like 60%.
So yeah, throughout our whole process, we talked about how the percentages that we were looking at were lower, than what was in place. And there was like a number of reasons why that was happening. And of course, if you go from 5 to 7 districts, like if you have a pie and you're gonna feed 5 people, they're gonna get so much pie. But once you decide you're gonna feed 2 more, yeah. So
even though there were fewer people, the Black voting strength was sufficient by itself to to inform us that the minority preferred candidate will still win. Also, we learned that the Hispanic vote wasn't strong enough to weigh in making this determination. So if council members, if legislature members think that by simply adding Black and Hispanics together, you're going to reach safe majorities, then they don't understand or don't know that the Hispanic vote exists, but it's not strong enough to sway how a race is going to come out. The Black population voting numbers do tell us that, and that's where we drew the districts to be sure, based on Black voting strength, that they'll work. And then in keeping in both the spirit of what Judge Kahn suggested and what state law next year will pretty much require, we created coalition districts. I look at it, the coalition districts are basically good government. They're progressive. They're the right thing to do with communities. But the fact is that the Hispanic voting strength didn't really tell us anything in terms of the viability of the districts. The Black voting strength numbers did.
Well, my other question is, it came up where we were using population and we were also looking at voting population. And it was my understanding that they were saying that we should just primarily focus more on voting population than just on total population.
Well, we
Because
drew
voting population.
well, they're both important.
Yeah.
we draw the districts themselves, the 39 districts, based on total population. And we draw the minority districts based on total population to stay within the 5% deviation window. But the minority districts themselves, to be effective minority districts, then you use voting age population within the overall population.
Well, when we do that, how do we take into consideration, when we look at voting age population, how do we take into consideration that in the minority community, the voting is low, even though the population says there's 2,000
the voting analysis is based on actual voters, not on actual population. So a district can have 1,000 people living in it, but if only 500 vote, it's the 500 who vote that's considered as part, in the analysis.
And I think the answer to your question, Larry, is there is no formula for accounting for that.
Right.
The only thing you can do is try to build the majority minority districts as strong as you can build them.
But we've covered all those bases. I was under the belief that that's what we did.
I mean, yes, we did that, but throughout our whole process, I mean, we never had a map that we thought was 100% perfect. There is no perfect map. Whatever map we draw, somebody else can always draw a better map. I mean, there's no formula that takes us to the perfect map based on the population. This is the one. There's no formula. So even in when we were looking at the maps, there were things that we had issues with. So I mean, it's not like we came up with the perfect solution. We came up with, given everything that we had to look at and that we considered, what we believe to be the best option.
So,
Right.
Jeff, I just have this question. The legislature's feedback was based on their fear that these districts or these 7 districts wouldn't be strong enough to allow the election of a candidate of that community's choice. But why didn't they provide feedback as to how to structure this? Did they even look at the material I know they were supposed to review Dr. Hanley's report. And
There's no way for us to know what they looked at.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know that. All we know is third-party stories that legislators were instructed to vote no, or that certain incumbents just didn't like the plan for whatever reasons. I mean, it's not our job to look at the politics of the situation, but they couch their rejection in just the weakest terms of saying that this plan would dilute minority voting strength. But they didn't say that, they didn't explain why, they didn't have the analysis. They just said, this was not acceptable. So it doesn't tell you whether to fix districts, 1, 2, or 3, or move one district 3 blocks over, or, this or that. They gave no indication. There was some conversation or suggestion that you have direct dialogue with the legislators, but I think it's in the best interest, following the charter, that if you held another public hearing, that legislators can testify. But it would not be a good idea. And I was told that the legislators themselves were advised not to have direct conversations with members of the commission, although that was before the vote. I think it still holds. And given that there were 2 separate parts of the charter on ethics in the legislative intent, and I think in part J of the charter talks about conducting the commission in the highest transparency and highest level of ethics, and to make transparent any conversations with elected officials. So the way to do that is through a public hearing, and you could, if you have a hearing, you can, let anybody in the public, including legislators, come and explain what their problem was and what they base it on. But they didn't tell us if they had other motives that we shouldn't be any part of. And if they refuse to accept the plan, then at some point, this would probably be by late December, early January, someone's got to go to court. And, this is not a preordained process, but somebody in the county needs to go to court and say that a plan needs to be in place by on or about March 1st, 2023, to conduct an orderly election in 2023. And at that point, a court would basically ask the county to go back and have the commission do its work again in a period of time and back to the legislature. But if the legislature doesn't approve a plan by a certain date, then the court will take over itself and appoint a special master and draw a plan that none of the incumbents are going to like.
Okay, so the local law was returned to us with some comments relative to the strength of the MMD and for us to reconsider what we submitted. So there's probably a range of alternatives in terms of things that we could do. At the one end, we could say, we took our best shot, we looked at it, we considered your concerns. We still think this is the best product that we can give back to y'all. At the other end, we start from scratch and we draw another map. Now, in between there's a host of other scenarios. We have maybe 6 maps. I don't know what the exact number is, but we have maps that we've already produced. We have maps that have been submitted by the public that we can go back and we can take another look at, and we can see if one of those maps rises to the top. We know that there are some that rises to the top because before we settled on our last map, there were other ones that we were looking at. We could go from the map that we have right now and say, okay, let's look at this map. Let's see how we might pair this back to 6 districts instead of 7. I mean, I think there's a range of different alternatives that are gonna have to be informed by our mappers, because it's gonna require mapping and analysis and all of that. The maps that we have, they've been analyzed. The maps that were submitted by the public, they have been analyzed. Is there something in that universe, or is there something that we go back and we look at it and we create something else? There's a range of alternatives. And where we're gonna end up, we can't say sitting here right now. We just know that this is back on our lap. We have a very short time frame to review it and turn it around. We have had maps that have had stronger population and voting age population statistics. None of them were perfect where every district necessarily looked good. But we probably go back and begin looking at some of that stuff again. Most of y'all attended the ACRC meeting that I was not at, but I did watch it.
You mean them on Monday night?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I did watch
I
the
did.
meeting. And I know today Larry Volk sent something to Nicole Chambers inviting the members of the legislature to speak at a ACRC public meeting on October 27th. And he also sent something. He also drafted a letter to the editor, I think, of Times Union, kind of giving an overview of what happened and where we are and talking about that public meeting as well. So I know on October 27th in the Guilderland Library, they're having that public meeting where the public will have the opportunity to come and speak if they choose.
You know what time?
I want to say 7.
I think it's at 7.
Yeah, I want to say 7, 7 or 7:30. So that's October 27th. We need to reconstitute a meeting schedule going forward. We need to meet at least every week, and it might turn out that there might be a week or two where we might need to have 2 meetings. We should get a sense of everybody's schedule. I know in November I have a vacation scheduled.
Area.
That's gonna be from the 9th to the 20th. I'll be back on the 20th. I'm going to Hawaii. I'm not changing my plans.
Care where you going?
Well, I'm not changing my plans.
And you are gonna be like in a totally different time zone. Yes.
So, from Hawaii, I
Take your laptop.
I can attend meetings.
Yes, you can.
I can attend meetings. I just can't vote on anything. If there was anything that needed to be voted on, wouldn't be able to vote, but I can still attend meetings. So we kind of landed on Wednesday at 5 o'clock.
No, that's,
I mean,
Thought this
as a
what we
time
thought for
frame
this
for
week.
this week.
oh, okay.
But we need to come up with a full schedule. So the date that we're looking at, that something has to be back to the legislature is December 12th.
December.
December 12th. And in that is Thanksgiving,
Right.
you know, and
Yeah.
in the pathway to Christmas. So Kwanzaa. So it's like
Mhm.
this, the sooner we can get the stuff that plus we have to get our stuff done in enough time for the ACRC to be able to reconfigure the rest of the map.
Correct.
So, we could still try to work on Saturday as a possibility for meetings. I think the libraries are hard on Saturday. I think there's 2 that are open at 10 o'clock, but I think they're hard in terms of getting reservations. So
That's difficult.
it's possible we might have to go outside of the county. We might have to go outside of the library system, which means we would probably, unless we can do it in a community center, then that would mean going to some private entity
We'll probably go to my church. We have enough meeting rooms upstairs that,
to do it on
To
a
do that.
Saturday.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We could look into Albany House.
Hmm?
Or we could look into maybe Albany House,
that's a possibility too.
see if they have.
Yeah, I
They
think we
do
had
that.
discussions with Albany Housing before, and I think kind of how it ended up is that because of what it is, they didn't really want to dedicate their space. But Jeff, if we try to stick with a Saturday with the church, is the church open at a certain time
Well,
once?
it depends who's there, but just like before, we scheduled a meeting when nobody was gonna be there, but so if we schedule it, they will have somebody there to open it for us.
Okay, so,
Where are you talking?
In Colony,
At the church?
yeah,
Yeah.
in Macedonia. Mhm.
I just didn't hear.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff, if we are able to, going forward, go back to our Saturday at 9 o'clock schedule, will that work for you?
Yeah, for how many years?
Yeah, you're right.
I don't have years.
Oh my gosh, I thought I had lost it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm used
I
to
don't
it.
have years at all. It better not go past this year.
Okay, that would work for me unless you want to consider Wednesdays, which are also good for me.
Okay. so
No.
Saturday, but
No.
Wednesdays
Well, what
are
time
not
on
good for
Wednesday?
you.
I have Bible study, but
Yeah.
depending on what, we're at 6, so,
Mine
well,
too.
we would be in person though. That's a different story. No.
Well, I mean, we could always meet later on Wednesdays too. Because we might need to have another day anyway, just as like a backup.
Well, then maybe suggest going with Saturday mornings and Wednesday as a backup if need be.
Saturday.
I'll do it, but I can't tell you how much
Okay, so
But
if
we
you-
can't. I'm just looking at my Saturdays and I got a couple that won't work, but you can still attend the meeting remotely, but you can't vote.
Right, and the problem with that is we have to have a quorum.
Sure.
so we can't have people just attending meetings. I
Not
mean,
if-
everybody needs to commit to attending the meetings in person. Now, there might be some scheduled thing where one person
But we're-
can't come
We're
on.
talking 9 o'clock,
Saturday.
Saturday morning.
Saturday.
Okay.
It was easy when all you had to do was
I'm just
wash
saying
your
if
face,
they're
brush your
over
teeth,
by
come in here and put on a
11,
top.
I'm probably okay with the exception of Thanksgiving.
So I'm suggesting that we go with Saturday at 9 and we pick, what time is your Bible study over on Wednesday?
We're usually over 7:15 at the latest.
Okay, Wednesdays at 7:30.
You want me to see if we can get it?
Question. Marie,
Yeah.
from November 9th to the 20th, when you're away, and if would the committee meet Saturday mornings when it's about 1 a.m. where you are?
I mean, I could still do it.
Oh, well, he's just saying if we change the time.
You know, if we go with 9 o'clock on Saturday mornings, I'm guessing it would be about 2 a.m. in Hawaii for the period you're away.
So if
Just,
you change the time, then you won't have to be up as late or early, or you could, it'd be in the morning, it would be later for us, but morning for you.
So I don't know. That's up to everybody. I mean, we did 9 o'clock because at least at 9 o'clock afterwards, everybody still had their full day as
Right.
opposed to
Yeah.
like cutting the people's.
unless we simply don't meet while you're away, which is what I thought you were suggesting until we got to the actual dates.
Yeah, I don't know if not meeting while I'm away is gonna work.
No, we need to
I
meet.
mean, Arkbridge will be back on the 28th. And so we need to try to schedule a meeting for when they're back. I was looking at, because I was looking at the library stuff too. I think I was looking at November, trying to do something on November 2nd. Tell you that.
Well, November 2nd works for me.
November 2nd is a Wednesday.
In the evening, we're talking.
Yeah,
That's the backup.
so I mean, I think those are the two possibilities, Saturday or
Well,
Wednesday.
what about a Thursday or Tuesday?
Just
I can't do Thursdays.
I can't do Monday.
Plus-
Thursday. I can do Saturday.
Plus, I mean, I still don't have Arkbridge's schedule, but I know, I believe that Saturday will be okay for them. During the
would-
week, I don't know.
Weren't we doing our mapping meetings with them on Wednesdays?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it makes sense that those be the 2 days.
Okay.
All right, look,
Saturday.
Saturday at 9.
Saturday,
How about it?
the 22nd. Okay.
Is everybody okay Saturday at 10?
At 10.
The 22nd at 10.
No,
Going forward.
or 9.
going forward.
So you're not going with 9 o'clock, you're moving it to 10 o'clock?
Yeah, Donna just asked if it could be moved to 10.
So
Okay.
when would the first meeting be?
Saturday coming up.
This Saturday?
At
You know
10.
what, keep it. It doesn't matter.
I mean, what would our agenda be for this Saturday without the mappers, or, I mean, what would the agenda include, just being 3 days away?
You might not even need to be there, Jeff. I mean, there's stuff that we can start looking at without the mappers.
Okay,
Because I mean, we can start looking at the maps that were part of our work products.
so you would not need me this Saturday?
You may not need to be
Well,
there.
let me know, but
Alright.
I will hold the 22nd, the 29th, the 5th. I'm just moving forward, the Saturdays in November, except for the 26th, which is Thanksgiving weekend.
So that's the 5th, the 12th, the 19th. And then in December, we have the 3rd and the 10th.
Yeah, and for Wednesdays, I would be available each Wednesday, except not available on November 16th.
Not available November 16th.
Right.
So we're the 5th, the 12th, and 19th.
And if
Of
the meeting
November.
had to be late, like at 7:30, you would be okay with that?
Probably, well, I have a meeting that might go until 8.
On what day?
Wednesdays.
On Wednesday, all
Oh,
Wednesdays.
these are when,
Yeah, he says he has a meeting that could go to 8. So that meeting starts at 7?
My meeting
Yeah.
starts 6:30 to 8 on the 16th.
Oh, just that one day.
just that one day?
One day, just that one day. Although I'm available between 4:45 and 6:30.
Shauna's
So
probably not
Shauna
out
gets
of
out
work,
of work at 4:30.
and then she's gonna have to travel.
And
to
she
wherever
has
we
to,
are.
yeah. All right, so,
So are we looking at the 19th being our last meeting?
of November?
Yes.
No, we're gonna have to go into December probably.
Okay, so I'm taking the 26th is off the table.
So December
Yeah,
3rd and
the
the
20
10th
Okay,
are possibilities.
What you're saying, you can't be there the 26th?
I'll be traveling
Okay.
back
okay.
here on the
Okay.
26th.
December the 17th through New Year's, I'm out of here.
I'll probably be gone.
So Jeff,
That's the deadline.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
say that
that's right,
again.
12 is the day.
December 17th is past the deadline.
right, I said the 3rd and the 10th.
Yeah, 3rd is not gonna work.
Yeah.
And it's possible that we might not need to meet at that
Well-
point. It'll be with the ACRC and they will have
So-
made whatever adjustments they needed to make for the other districts.
So I'm going to put down a meeting every Saturday except for the 26th. And you'll let me know about this Saturday for 10 o'clock each Saturday.
Okay. So are we changing it to 10?
Yes, okay with me.
We're meeting in person, we gotta remember that.
Yeah,
Gotta get out of your pajamas.
right.
Yeah.
That's why I said 10 o'clock.
Or put some clothes on over.
Don't get pulled over.
Okay.
10 o'clock. So this Saturday, we're meeting at 10. Where are we meeting?
We gotta figure it out.
Oh,
Stay tuned. Jeff, in terms of legalities, do you have anything else for us?
What do you mean?
Donna has a question for you, though.
Okay, in reading the Pope decision, and I know there's a lot of discussion in terms of the population of there's the voting age population, and then there's the minority population. The minority population, it has to be 50% or the voting age.
When you're drawing minority districts, you're using voting age population.
Okay,
Think of the overall population only in terms of the 39 districts. Overall, they have to be within 5% of each other, but
Right.
you're drawing the minority districts, you're looking at voting age population.
okay, and 50%?
Well,
I thought the population had to be 50%.
yeah, to draw for the district,
Or a majority minority district.
yeah, for the district that Dr. Hanley suggested when I had a conversation with her, is that the new sixth district, if you want to create that, should be 50% plus. The other 5 are already effective districts, whatever population they are, in the plan you submitted.
Are we talking minority population or voting age population?
Always voting age population,
So voting age population is 50% plus,
correct.
and we're defining minority as Black only?
Well, it could be black and one other race.
Right,
I would say for the initial line drawing purposes, just work with Black population. It's simpler.
but because Judge Khan did say, and my
Oh,
understanding,
let me backtrack. You can use Black and Hispanic, but we have to evaluate the plan depending on how it's drawn with Black voting numbers.
But isn't it, if the Black population is above 50%, then it's a majority minority district.
By definition,
If it's not, and and because of coalition districts, it goes beyond 50% or whatever, it's a plurality, correct?
well, if neither Black or Hispanic population is 50% or greater, then it's a plurality district. But a
Right.
plurality district can serve as an effective minority district.
Right, but a majority minority district by definition is a district where the majority population is 50% or above.
Right, that would be if you're trying to draw a sixth district, then you'd want to draw the sixth district at 50% or more Black voting age population.
And by the way, Lars submitted another map.
Today,
I think he must have submitted it on the 17th. AppGeo sent it out to us today.
okay, I haven't seen
So
it.
he drew another map. That's a 6th district map.
And what's the minority or the Black voting age population?
Good, I had it here. So he has districts 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7. Non-Hispanic Black population, District 1, 45.21. The voting age population, 44.74. District 2, population 49.85. The voting age population, 47.23. District 3, 49.37. Non-Hispanic, the voting age population, 46.4. I mean, basically, they're all like,
Plurality.
yeah, they're all, yeah, they're all.
What is the sixth district?
Is District 7. District 7 is the district that had the greatest increase in diverse population.
What is the Black voting age population in the sixth district, number 7?
43.18.
Okay, so he could not, well, I'll just say for argument's sake, it looks as if he could not draw a district that is 50% plus minority.
No,
The other 5 are already the pre-existing districts, right?
no, I don't,
No,
I
he
don't know.
probably- no, he
No, he
probably
has a
changed
new
that.
map, so I'm
The
sure
whole
he
new map?
changed those
Yeah,
districts.
we'd have to look to see what the,
Yeah, Arkbridge would have to look at his map.
yeah,
We direct them to do that before Saturday.
No, they're in India.
Oh,
They won't be back, what, till
Oh,
28, you say?
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, between Arkbridge drawing the maps, Dr. Handley analyzing the maps, all we could do right now is give you the law and ask questions. But the weaker the districts might get, the greater the liability grows.
Um,
So I mean, essentially,
Yeah.
they went, like they said, they went from 5 strong MMDs because they were all over 50, they're all over 50%.
if This is in the, I'm
No,
looking at the table. I'm
the
looking-
current districts.
Yeah, from the ones, well, I'm just looking at the Pope decision. There's a table in here. There are 5 districts. Non-Hispanic Black is, or percentage of Black voting age is 45.88, 51.37, 52.21, 52.16, and 45.90.
45.90.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we had 2 or 3 districts already under 50 and like 2 districts over 50. And, you know, they're obviously changed based on 2020 numbers. But the map that you drew was analyzed based on the map that you drew and the racial voting numbers. So the districts you recommended, the 5 of them, are still going to elect minority preferred candidates.
and of the 5 that currently exist based upon Dr. Hanley's analysis, 4 are like more than likely, and 1 is likely.
Mhm. So we have to get the numbers, we have to look at the maps and get the numbers analyzed.
Yeah,
Don't drive yourselves crazy trying to guess what if, because we don't know.
Right.
yeah, we can't guess what if, we could just look at the numbers and we can see in certain situations where the numbers are weaker and the numbers are stronger. Do I have any additional questions? You, Donna?
No, other than, so it has to be 50%, voting age population has to be 50% Black.
For the new 6th district. And if you can't, we'll analyze the numbers and see where it takes us. It, you know, might just be a district that, you know, could elect, but that, you know, there's no way of knowing who might decide that it wasn't strong enough and the incumbents' concerns out the window and go ahead and sue.
So,
But, well, they have 2 districts, District 1 and District 6. Like I said, District 1 is 45.88 and 6 is 45.90.
I don't know if those numbers, I don't know
This
if
is
those
from Dr.
numbers are
Hammond.
right.
This is from Dr. Hammond's report. This is the 5, it says there are currently 5 districts with
This is,
significant.
this is from Arcbridge. This is the 5 MMDs based on the 2011 census. And this is, where's the, this right here is the voting age population. And they're all over 50% with the exception of District 6.
Okay, this is her table. This is her demographic table in her report. The figures here.
So yeah, I don't know what that is. 'Cause they did, Arcbridge did,
In a few minutes.
Arcbridge did current,
Meeting is
and
over.
then they took and they did the overlay of
Right.
the 2020 census.
Right.
And when they did the overlay of the 2020 census, only 3 of them stayed above 50%.
Okay.
And then if you look at Plan
The
A,
maps. Yeah.
which was 5 MMDs,
Um,
only 2 of them stayed above 50%. And then when you look at Plan B revised, voting age population, none of them were over
Okay.
50%. In Plan C, none of them were over 50%. And in Plan D, none of them were over 50%.
Is Plan D? Which one do we select, D or C?
No, we selected C,
C.
but yeah, it was C and there was some minor tweaks to it. The Plan D was the 6 MMD map
Mhm.
that we had. In
Maybe we
terms,
can relook it, like you said, maybe we can go
Let's
over
see,
that
Laura.
again, and see if it can.
this change. No, I'm sorry. I just want to see the Plan D.
all right, so I'll put together a schedule of meetings that will take us through now. And I guess December 10th.
And we should react to that, the meetings that we can't. There's gonna be at least 2 I know I
Yeah,
cannot.
and does anybody else have vacations between now and?
Not vacations, but
The week of
commitments out of
Thanksgiving.
town on weekends.
And I have a standing committee. I have a standing
Just-
meeting the second Saturday of every month. And
That's in the morning.
it's at 10 o'clock. And I'll figure out how I'll do that. Because there may be times I have committees that I chair, so I may need to report out. So I'll work it out some way.
Okay. All right, so I'll put together a schedule and I'll send it out to everybody.
Okay, and Marie, would you please send me a copy of the Lars Dole plan that you got?
Yeah, I could email it to you right now.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
It has been moved and motioned and seconded that the
Moved.
meeting, it has been moved and seconded that the meeting be adjourned. All in favor?
aye.
The meeting is adjourned. So I'll send that to you now, Jeff.
Okay, I'll see you all either this Saturday or the following Saturday.